Good morning. Welcome to Denton Unitarian Universalist Fellowship. My name is Crystal Sullivan, and I'm a member of the Board of Trustees. My pronouns are she, her, and hers. Thank you for being with us today in the sanctuary and online. For those online, please see the comments throughout the service for more information. For those in the sanctuary, please remember to remain 6 feet from one another. You can help our tech team by turning off your Wi-Fi on your phone. We will keep our mask on and no touching or singing. But we have shakers and noisemakers, and you are invited to stand and dance and sway during hymns and other music. Newcomers, please complete a visitor information card online or in the seat pocket in front of you. Doof will be hosting our first alternative gift market on December 4th from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. If you have a local vendor or merchant that you love, share this information with them. The vendor registration form is in our tree link handout. The transition team and Reverend AJ are hosting a listening session today about the future of Doof. These are a way for members and friends of Doof to share appreciation and concerns. Simply stay in the sanctuary when the service ends and join the conversation. If you are joining us online after the service, please visit our usual Zoom link for our online coffee hour. Tomorrow is the last day to share a photo or short video about your loved one for next week's All Souls Day service. Next Sunday, we will have an altar to place photos and small mementos to remember your loved ones. All are welcome to join our Visual Arts Town Hall at 10 a.m. on Saturday, October 30th. This is an invitation to an exciting conversation about our co-created shared environment, landscape design, and interior space utilization, a program for displaying visual arts and how arts interact with worship, and how newcomers experience the facility. We are invited to celebrate trunk or treat with our neighbors at First Christian Church. Either decorate your trunk or offer candy or dress up and go trunk or treating on Saturday evening, October 30th from 5:30 to 8 p.m. Reverend AJ will lead a class in UU history and faith development on Sunday evenings from 7 to 9 p.m. in November. Classes will be held on Zoom. Each week is a standalone seminar, but there is no requirement to attend all 4 evenings. But pre-registration is required for each session by emailing minister@dentonuuf.org. You can learn more about events, registering children for classes, and attending worship in person in our newsletter, on our social media, and on our tree link. Now I'd like to bring up Jeff Bradford for an update on our stewardship drive.
Thank you, Crystal. My name is Jeff Bradford. I'm a member of the stewardship team. We are so excited to be celebrating our 72nd Doofiversary. We are hoping that everyone will submit their pledge by end of day today so that you can get an invitation to our Doofiversary party November 6th outside. We have 20% of our pledge goal already met. So please submit your pledges as soon as possible. Thank you. Now, let us prepare our hearts and minds for worship.
We light this chalice to honor our past, for the founders and prophets of Unitarian Universalism who paved the way for our liberal religion in the world, and also for the individuals who gave birth to our religious community here. We light this chalice to honor our present, for our search for truth and meaning, our nurture of diverse spiritual paths, and our service to the cause of love and justice, acknowledging our sacred responsibility to live our principles with integrity. We light this chalice to honor our future, for a kinder and fairer world, for a people and a planet made whole by the Spirit of life.
Where is our holy church, where race and class unite, as equal persons in the search for beauty, truth, and right? Where is our holy writ, wherever a human heart a sacred torch of truth has lit by inspiration taught? Where is our Holy One? A mighty host respond, the people rise in every land to break the captive's bond. Where is our holy land? Within the human soul, wherever free minds truly seek with character the goal. Where is our paradise? In inspiration's sight, wherein we hope to see arise 10,000 years of right.
Good morning, Denton. My name is Reverend A.J. Galazen, and I am your interim minister. My pronouns are he and his. Our call to worship today comes from Louis Untermeyer. May nothing evil cross this door, and may ill fortune never pry. About these windows may the roar and rain go by. By faith made strong, the rafters will withstand the battering of the storm. This hearth, though the world grows chill, will keep you warm. Peace shall walk softly through these rooms, touching our lips with holy wine, till every casual corner blooms into a shrine. With laughter drown the raucous shout, and though these sheltering walls are thin, may they be strong to keep hate out and hold love in.
Have you heard of the story of the three sisters? It is a Native American legend which refers to corns, beans, and squash. These sisters are known as the sustainers of life. They grow together in the same mound, working together for the benefit of their community. The corn stands tall so the beans can climb the stalk to reach the sunlight, and the beans keep the corn from falling when it's windy. The squash vines creep along the ground and act as a living mulch. Their broad, shiny leaves protect the beans and corn from predatory animals, provide weed cover, and keep moisture in the soil. The beans pump beneficial nitrogen back into the soil, fertilizing the corn and squash. The three plants work well together to create fertile soil. The legend of the three sisters varies from tribe to tribe. This is the Iroquois version. Very long ago, there were three sisters who lived in a field. The youngest was so small she could not yet walk. She crawled along the ground dressed in green. The middle sister wore a bright yellow dress and darted back and forth across the field. The eldest sister stood tall and straight, and her body bent with the wind. She had long yellow hair and wore a green shawl. The three sisters loved one another very much and could not imagine living without the others. One day, a little boy came to the field. He was very smart and knew the ways of the land. He could talk with the birds and the animals and was strong and fearless. The three sisters were very interested in this boy as they watched him use his stone knife to carve a bowl or hunt with his bow and arrow. Late in the summer of the boy's first visit to the field, the youngest of the three sisters disappeared. She was the one who could only creep along the ground. She could not even stand unless there was a stick she could cling to. But she was gone, and the other two sisters mourned her until the fall. The boy returned to the field to gather reeds that grew at the edge of a small stream. He used the reeds to make arrow shafts. The two remaining sisters again watched him, fascinated. That night, the second sister disappeared, the one who always wandered hither and yon. Now there was only one sister left, the tall and straight sister. She did not bow her head in sorrow, though she mourned deeply and thought she could not live the field alone without her sisters. As the days grew shorter and colder, her green shawl began to lose its color, and her yellow hair became dry and tangled. Night and day she sighed for her sisters, but her voice was low like the wind, and no one heard her. One day in the harvest season, the little boy heard the third sister crying, and he felt sorry for her. He took her in his arms and carried her to his home, and there a delightful surprise awaited her. Her sisters were there in the lodge, safe and very glad to be reunited. They explained they had been curious about the little boy and followed him home, and they had decided to stay because winter was coming and his home was warm and comfortable. The sisters also were making themselves useful to the boy and his family. The youngest, now all grown up, kept the dinner pot full, while the second sister, still in her yellow dress, dried herself on the shelf so she could fill the dinner pot later in the winter. The eldest sister was so pleased to be with her sisters again and so impressed with the help they gave the boy that she too began drying herself so the family would have cornmeal to use as the winter went on. And from that day to this, their three sisters were never separated again.
Dear friends, will you join me now in a time of prayer and meditation? And today's prayer comes from my friend, Reverend Lynn Cox. Spirit of life, who draws us together in a web of holy relationships, make your presence known with us and in us and among us. Remind us that we are not alone in history. Ignite us with the courage of the living tradition. Remind us that we are not alone in entering the future. Anchor us with patience and perseverance. Remind us that we are not alone in our times of grief and pain. Comfort us with your Spirit, manifest in human hands and voices. Remind us that we are not alone in joy and wonder. Inspire us to honor and extend the beauty we find in the world. Divine music of the universe, let our hearts beat in diverse and harmonious rhythms, cooperating with an everlasting dance of love. May we move with the rhythms of peace. May we move with the rhythms of compassion. May we move with the rhythms of justice. Source of stars and planets and water and land, open our hearts to all of our neighbors. Open our souls to a renewal of faith. Open our hands to join together in the work ahead. So may it be, blessed be, and amen.
This is my song, O God of all the nations, a song of peace for lands afar and mine. This is my home, the country where my heart is. Here are my hopes, my dreams, my holy shrine. This is my song, O God of all the nations, a song of peace for lands afar and mine. This is my home, the country where my heart is. Here are my hopes, my dreams, my holy shrine. But other hearts in other lands are beating with hopes and dreams as true and high as mine. My country's skies are bluer than the ocean, and sunlight beams on clover leaf and pine. But other lands have sunlight too, and clover, and skies are everywhere as blue as mine. Oh, hear my song, thou God of all the nations, a song of peace for their land and for mine.
Our reading today comes from Reverend Joanna Crawford. About a month before the Supreme Court ruled in favor of marriage equality, the rainbow flag on our church sign was stolen. We put up another flag. It was stolen. This time, the pole and its holder were literally ripped off our sign. The thefts and our commitment to keep replacing the flag received significant press coverage, which had the silver lining of bringing in many visitors attracted to our message of loving welcome. Yes, we have agreed. We want this church to grow, not just in those high-minded ways they talk about, spiritual growth, maturational growth. Those are good, yes, but we will say it clearly. We want more members. We want so many members that they're clogging up the hallways, crowding the parking lot. We want to grow for a very selfish reason. No, not more people to serve or give. It is this. Every week we come together as a community and experience genuine love and acceptance of our authentic selves. We can be who we are in this holy place. And one day a week is not enough. Not enough. We want a little of our church experience every day. Here we are gathered to strengthen our souls and are sent out to strengthen the world. Every person we welcome in will take a little of this church with them out into the wider community. Together, we're going to build a community outside our walls that looks more like what we see every Sunday. We're going to build a world out there that's a little more loving, a little more accepting, a little more welcoming of the queer folks and liberals, atheists and pagans, social activists and sci-fi nerds. We want a little of this church in every day. So open the doors and welcome in those who need us, because we assuredly need them to build the beloved community. Come, and keep coming. If they come, we can build it. Please rise in body or spirit for hymn 121, We'll Build a Land.
We'll build a land where we bind up the broken. We'll build a land where the captives go free, where the oil of gladness dissolves our mourning. Oh, we'll build a promised land that can be. Come, build a land where sisters and brothers, anointed by God, may then create peace, where justice shall roll down like waters, and peace like an ever-flowing stream. We'll build a land where we bring up good tidings to all the afflicted and all those who mourn, and we'll give them garlands instead of ashes. Oh, we'll build a land where peace is born. Come, build a land where sisters and brothers, anointed by God, make then create peace, where justice shall roll down like waters, and peace like an ever-flowing stream. We'll and cities, raising up devastations from both, restoring ruins of generation. Oh, we'll build a land of people so bold. Come, build a land where sisters and brothers, anointed by God, make then create peace, where justice shall roll down like waters, and peace like an ever-flowing stream. Come, build a land where the mantles of praises resound from spirits once faint and once weak, where like oaks of righteousness stand her people. Oh, come build the land, my people we seek. Come build a land where sisters and brothers, anointed by God, make then create peace, where justice shall roll down like waters, and peace like an ever-flowing stream.
So my name is Chrissy. My pronouns are she and her, and I was asked today to come give a testimonial of why I love Doof. While this could easily be a 3-part series, I'll save that and just give you some key milestones in my life that I feel like brought me here. So I am from a small Texas town with very small Texas perspectives on things. I was raised in a church, kind of. My mom was raised with a very strict religious background, and it kind of left her with a little bit of a bad taste in her mouth. So she didn't want us to have those same experiences, but she struggled with this idea that was instilled in her that going to church is what makes you a good person. So she wanted us to, of course, be good people. So this was the way that we did that. So we went sometimes if we woke up in time. If we didn't, no big deal. But she worked to put those same values within us. So it was, even in that, there was one religion, right? And it was Christianity, but within that, there were the Baptist churches and the Methodist churches and the labels that came with all of those, which was super weird to me that we would kind of all be in this thing for the same reasons, but still talk behind each other's backs because one person went to this church and one person went to this church. So it was like shopping for a pair of pants, but like I bought them 2 sizes too small, and I tried my best to get them to fit, but they just never felt quite right. So fast forward to college. I never actually went to church once I graduated high school when I got into college because, again, my pants didn't fit. It just wasn't my thing. I, in grad school, took a class over different religions, and wow, was that an eye-opener. I learned about Buddhism, I learned about Hinduism, and everything in between. And it was so amazing to see how beautiful it could be to believe in different ways, through different perspectives. And it was fine. These were all right. There were no wrong ones. But I still couldn't go all in with any one of them. There were things about all of them that I found amazing, but I still didn't feel like my pants fit. I feel like I've gotten closer to the right size, but I was still trying to force them on. So I just kind of silently went through a struggle of really wanting this idea of belonging to a community, but not being able to go all in any one. So fast forward again, I met my now husband, and I remember vividly having a conversation with him early on when we were dating about religion. And he, with no qualms about it, told me that he was an atheist. And it gave me pause because this was something that I had learned, you're going to church makes you good. But this was the most wonderful person, most giving person, most amazing person I'd ever met. So it couldn't be wrong. So we fast forward, have children, and through this time, I have friends that are pagans, I have friends that are atheists, I have friends that are Buddhists, I have friends that are Hindu, and they are all beautiful, amazing, giving people. And the thing that I was missing was wanting this community for my kids, especially. I wanted them to have this sense of community. My friends, even as an adult, in so many situations, I'm asked, "Hi, what's your name? What church do you go to?" Just before you know anything about me, you want to know what church I go to. And so usually when that question is asked at work events, at social events, in workout groups, everywhere I go, I slink back because I'm not comfortable with this question. I know in my head, oh, I'm supposed to say something because this makes you a good person, but in my heart, I just don't fit in these molds. And so I continue to slink back and hope that they don't ask me detailed questions. So the thing that really set me on this path was the last 5 years and everything that's happening in our country and especially in our state. I cannot handle the level of hate that we're swimming in right now. The judgment, the rights, the social justice, the things that are happening that are just not okay was too much. And I needed a community. I desperately needed a community of people that I knew shared my same values, my same views on LGBTQ, on equality, on social justice, on all of those issues. And I had no idea that it would be in a church. So I have a friend, Hillary Aller, who I've known since grad school, and she had told me about DOOF before, and it sounded great, but I just wasn't ready. And then I began working with a woman who was sort of a mentor for me in my previous position. I adored her. I thought she was amazing. I heard her say one time she was giving to her church, and admittedly, I thought, oh, that's weird because you're so cool. And so then she told me what it was, and I thought, oh my gosh, this has to be a sign. This is the universe saying, give this a shot. So I vividly remember the first one that I watched online during COVID, and it was over creativity. And I thought, oh my gosh, this is a fluke. This is not what they do, really. This was probably just a special thing. It was, a special Sunday. And I watched more, and I watched more, and I thought, I found the pants that fit. Like, these are my people. This is where we're supposed to be. I'm so proud to have my daughter. She's 5, and she's in the kids' classes, and they're learning about things like love and equality and what it means to be a human like you're supposed to be, to love each other. When I met my husband and he told me he was atheist, I asked him, well, what do you believe? And his response so quickly was, I believe in love. And this is the same group. I found my partner in life forever, and I found my people forever, the ones that also believe in love. So thank you. I'm new to DOOF. I think I'm maybe 3 or 4 months in, but it's been an amazing experience so far, and I'm happy to grow with this community. So thank you.
Thank you, Chrissy. We're glad to have you here. All month, members are sharing what they love about DOOF. And I know that some of us come or log in on Sunday feeling weary, having worn out the snooze button on the alarm clock. Some come on Sunday feeling frightened, having seared our eyes reading the latest news. Other Sundays, we come feeling burdened, having fretted about our workday worries. But I know I leave Sunday service feeling refreshed, having been renewed by the spirit of love in this community that exists here. I leave Sunday service feeling whole, feeling lifted up by the words of righteous challenge. I leave Sunday service feeling energized, ready to continue our fight for peace and justice, and I bet you do too. This haven, this refuge, this place of worship and wonder exists because we make it so, with our contributions, the gifts of our time, our skills, our coffee, our love, our laughter, and our money. So please join me in giving, but also pledge your support for DUF in 2022 so that we may continue to have a place that fortifies and challenges us in these trying and troubled times. See the chat, link tree, or order of service for ways to give to DUF and our second offering recipient for October, Outreach Denton, and to view the 2022 pledge form. The offering is now gratefully received.
Night comes, O Madonna, clad in scented rose red her mouth, and deep her eyes. She lights her stars. And comes to where beneath her silver lamps the moon. Upon us our shadow lies, a dreamy child. The wearied day. From you I receive, to you I give. Together we share, and by this we live.
Our theme for October is Cultivating Relationships. We began the month by thinking about how we got to this place, building the many pathways that bring us together, setting boundaries, trying to find ourselves, and exploring the value of wandering, not knowing where we're going, but instead practicing the art of sauntering, of feeling the Holy Land beneath every step we take. Then we honored Coming Out Day, the process of maintaining a welcoming community as a gentle and sometimes angry people that build understanding by practicing hospitality and renewing a commitment to acceptance of differences. Last week, I spoke about building bridges, making covenants, coming to terms with change by renewing our agreements. By reaching out to our neighbors, we help build a network of mutuality that extends far beyond this congregation. And as we inspect our relationships, we may find some in need of repair. We may discover gaps that could benefit from a new connection. And today, I'm focusing on building shelters, those protective structures that make this beloved community possible, a place of both safety and strength, a home of generosity and accountability. Years ago, I finally accomplished a long-time dream of mine. I built a spiritual retreat, a place of refuge deep in the woods. And although I didn't plan it this way, I'm delighted that you can't find my little house by looking at satellite images on Google Earth. My secret shelter is hidden under the evergreens. Being a novice builder, I relied on professional assistance from my sister and brother-in-law, whose construction experience helped me to learn on the job with hammer and nail. I take full credit for the design, but I know that translating an idea into reality is a special skill that can only be learned by hands-on experience. When my retreat was finished and I was alone in the woods, I realized something important was missing. I had forgotten to design a screen porch. In northern Wisconsin, the bugs are voracious. It's impossible to go outside for even a few minutes without being covered with mosquitoes, biting flies, wood ticks, deer ticks, and yellow jackets. To me, Texas has been a bug-free paradise, except for a very strange bug that Matthew Morin helped me identify as a cicada killer. And that bug scares me. So I set off to build my own porch. The foundation was easy. Level a few concrete blocks, set some long straight beams, and attach recycled floorboards. The walls were pretty simple too. I found an aluminum screen door someone threw away, framed it with 2x4s, and then stapled screen to the sides. I was impressed with my resourcefulness. But I was vexed by the roof. I didn't have a clear solution in mind. Since I had some leftover screen, I decided a screen roof would be unique. It was great for ventilation, and I loved sitting under the screen and looking up into the trees. I was impressed with my invention. But when the rain came, it offered no protection. And when the snow fell, the weight buried the roof until it collapsed. The next spring, I decided to cover my porch with an old tarp. It kept me dry for a time, but the wind loved to ruffle it, and after one big storm, the tarp ripped apart and blew away. So I went without any roof for a time, which allowed both rain and some high-flying bugs in, before I built a proper roof with a ridge pole and fiberglass panels and everything fastened tightly to the frame. I built that roof right before I came to Texas, and I wonder how it is holding up. Now, if you think you've heard this story before, you may be right. After going through this, I wondered if I had just subconsciously repeated the fable of the three little pigs. Building with straw and sticks and bricks, and the mantra of I'll huff and I'll puff and I'll blow your house down. Some of you may be wondering why I just didn't build a proper roof right from the beginning. And that's a good question. I don't think I knew what I really needed or what I really wanted. I was relying on the materials I had available. I underestimated the forces of nature. And I enjoyed the creative wonder of experimentation with each new plan. If at first you don't succeed, try again. The beloved community here at the Denton UU Fellowship is a sturdy structure for peace, love, and justice. But it is also a structure that is still under construction. It will never be fully completed. Unitarian Universalists believe that our churches, however expansive and inclusive, are not the final answer. We are first and foremost a laboratory of the Spirit, a place of sacred exploration and discovery. Revelation is not sealed. Louis Untermeyer's poem that became our hymn number 1, May Nothing Evil Cross This Door, speaks of the essential elements of church structure. The doors that welcome, the windows that illuminate, the rafters that withstand, and the hearth that warms. Tomorrow is the 72nd anniversary of the establishment of this congregation as a humanist, lay-led Unitarian Fellowship. And one of the primary motives of the founders was to provide liberal religious education for children. And 72 years later, while many churches have diminished their Sunday schools, classes for children and youth are thriving here, except not today because of some illness. A program like this doesn't just happen. It was in the design. It was put together one bit at a time. Part of the structure you have built together. Part of the shelter you offer to the community. By faith made strong, the rafters will withstand the battering of the storm. What are these rafters? The Doof covenant might be the ridgepole, forming a connection with all the others. Worship, pastoral care, social justice, membership, music, the board, stewardship, celebration, dedication, remembrance, sharing, and forgiveness. I hope you can be gentle with yourselves if some of the rafters are not as strong as others. These are difficult times. Some of us are still missing in action, and a spirit of compromise and cooperation can provide the needed supports. It is possible for some rafters to carry more of the load temporarily, but over time it is important to share the burden fairly to avoid weakening the entire structure. Each member has a vital part to play. Doof's covenant is under review right now, and everyone is encouraged to think about and question how the covenant speaks to you today. And here is the current covenant. We affirm our commitment to this community by covenanting to listen with compassion, to speak with respect and kindness, to take responsibility for our own acts and feelings, to support this church as we are able, to engage in open, caring, and informed discussion of the decisions that affect us, and to practice our UU principles at Doof and in the world. Your assignment this week, should you choose to accept it, is to consider the symbolism of the foundation, the walls, and the roof of this fellowship. The foundation or the floor might represent the past, your history, the inheritance from the sacrifices of your founders. It's important to be anchored to a sense of mission with an even keel. The walls might represent this present moment. Are the walls open and transparent, welcoming, or are they closed and opaque, a mighty fortress of separation? And the roof might represent your future. A proper shelter needs protection for a rainy day. The roof is an investment for times beyond the clear skies of this moment. And my roof was the hardest part for me to build because the future seems so far away. And yet we are left with very little shelter without something over our heads. And while I've been using a lot of architectural images today to talk about the structures of this beloved community, please know that Doof is not just a physical place. People used to always say, church is not the building, it's the people. Now we know what that really means. And I want to thank all of you for your patience as we navigate this uncharted territory of providing virtual shelter as we build a multi-platform, multicultural congregation. And I hope we can all keep a sense of humor. With laughter drown the raucous shout, and though these sheltering walls are thin, may they be strong to keep hate out and hold love in. May it be so, and amen. Please rise in body or spirit for our closing hymn, 128, For All That Is Our Life.
For all that is our life, we sing our thanks and praise. For all life is a gift, which we are called to use to build the common good and make our own days glad. For needs which others serve, for services we give, for work and its rewards, for hours of rest and love, we come with praise and thanks for all that is our life. For sorrow we must bear, for failures, pain, and loss, for each new thing we learn, for fearful hours that pass, we'd come with praise and thanks for all that is our life. For all that is our life, we sing our thanks and praise, for all life is a gift which we are called to use to build the common good and make our own days glad.
Please remain standing for the benediction. And for those of you who want to stay for our listening session, please gather around the front of the sanctuary right after the service ends. Our benediction today comes from Reverend Eric Williams. May you be filled with the blessings of this covenanted community. May you carry them with you as you depart from here. May you discover the places in the world where these blessings are needed. May you have the courage to share them. And may there be an open place within you to receive the blessings of the people whom you will meet along the way. Go now in peace, and amen. And now our closing words for extinguishing the chalice. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again.